We'll call the meeting to order. It's the Town of Ayer Council on Aging Board Meeting, Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 2 p.m. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on the notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for an in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID number 375-414-6055 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, atm@ayer.ma.us or at 978-772-8220, extension 100 prior to the meeting. So the meeting will be called to order. Before we do an approval to the agenda, I'd like to make two amendments. And the first, and we're amending them because we're going to be looking for a vote. And the first is on the November 11th meeting, which is the second Tuesday. So we make an amendment to discuss whether or not we're having it, canceling it, or those types of things.
November 11th.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
Veterans Day.
holiday.
oh,
Yep.
Veterans Day. Yep.
Yep. So, and the second item is to vote, is a vote to support and send a letter for the select board, and the finance committee and the capital improvement committee with support of the new senior center and that type of thing. And that we may actually will, if we do agree to do that, we'll probably actually spend part of this meeting drafting and figuring out that letter, since time is of the essence on that one. I didn't realize the timeline until I just saw everything put down, and a lot of that came from the director's report, so it was like, so those are the two amendments that I have to it.
and Madam Chair, if I could ask for a third, I went to the transportation, the 10 and 9 meeting. I guess, when was this? Probably late August, I guess, must have been.
Right.
But in any case, just kind of an update on
Okay,
where things stand with that.
perfect. So
You can insert that wherever convenient.
is there anything else to be added to the agenda or taken off the agenda, or does anybody have any comments or whatnot? All right, so if not, I'd like to take a roll for the voting purposes of that. And Cheryl?
I vote aye. Yes.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
I move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Okay.
all right, well, Dennis?
Well, we need a second.
So
I second it. This is Cheryl.
she did.
Oh, I didn't hear.
All right,
Aye.
vote, Dennis, Marge. To vote,
Yeah, I get the vote. I will vote yes with questions.
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's, I know, we could just go through the items to discuss them.
Yeah.
Cheryl?
I vote aye. Yes.
All right, and Mary votes aye. All right.
Mhm.
All right, so now we'd like to review and approve any of the previous minutes.
Yeah.
Any comments or anything on those, or?
So did everybody get the June 10th, July 8th, and August 12th minutes? I had emailed out
Yes.
earlier. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And I know that Marge had edits that she wanted for those that
July meeting, I believe.
I had made those before, right? And
So
if you amended them, they're fine.
No, I didn't change the July, I didn't make the edits to the July 8th meetings after I got your email.
They were just spelling ones, right?
What's that?
They were just spelling.
No, it was, you had wanted some edits regarding that I had neglected to include you and those who had voluntarily chosen not to assume an office.
Oh, yeah, because I just said right out, I was fine not being in office for this time.
So did you want to provide an edit to that, or did you want to give me some wording that you would feel comfortable with? Oh,
Well, I think when we went around the table and we asked for volunteers, I was pretty direct, I did not want
right.
an office this year.
I was trying to look up that,
Mhm.
just trying to get my copy of the July 8th, notes where.
Mhm. I don't know if I have July. Like that.
Oh, there.
I just think instead of saying I was doing nothing, minute
Okay.
4.
So this be where, we have been, where before.
CLA board.
Project election update.
Mhm.
Find it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, so. I'm looking for where the minutes include.
I have June up, I don't have July.
They were in the same email.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good to know.
I think like we had it under the clerk, Cheryl respectively declined to serve as an officer at this time, I think.
Right.
Mhm.
We're just looking to put the same thing, and probably before anything is that Marge respectfully declines an officer position at this
For
time.
this year,
Okay,
for
so
this year.
where would you
Yeah.
like that? So here's the. Here is that was concerning to you. And the election update, sure. And your concern,
Yeah, I
Was
just
that-
don't see,
I,
cause you put
Yeah.
in about,
right, so,
Cheryl.
that's right, and this is the email that you sent.
yeah, but you put in about Cheryl.
I think
not-
if we go
Okay.
up to that first point underneath that, where you said discussion was held on the necessity of certain board positions. If after that, we add that Marge respectfully declined to accept an
Mhm.
officer position for this
See, you
upcoming
put
year.
Cheryl respectfully declined.
Right,
And I think if you just put Cheryl
Okay,
and
so-
Marge,
all right, so Cheryl and
Yeah.
Marge respect, okay.
yeah, cause you make it sound like I did nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I react.
I see. Okay. So with that edit in
Yeah.
mind.
I would just put that up there.
Just put Cheryl and Marge or.
So are you good with that edit, or
Yeah.
do you wanna see it before we approve them?
No, that's in
Okay.
there. And
Okay.
when it's posted,
Okay,
I'm good.
So it'll be.
But that way, I feel like I'm at least
totally agree.
still active.
Well, you're always active in
Well,
it,
I
but
am.
I do
But that made me feel
understand,
like I wasn't being active.
I do understand where you're looking for that acknowledgement that you.
I am a part of the board and I have been active.
So. All right,
Go to twin sister.
Should
Okay,
have
so
done
for
that
the
first.
June 10th, July 8th, and August 12th minutes,
Then I'm fine.
all
are
right.
there any further edits?
I'm,
So we'll look to take
mhm.
a vote on the June, July, and August minutes with the amendments as noted. Do I hear
Second,
I make a motion to accept the minutes for June, July, and August.
okay,
second,
all in favor, now we'll go through the roll call. Cheryl?
I say aye.
Okay,
oh, there you
Marge,
Aye.
Dennis,
go. Aye,
Mary is aye as well.
Okay,
All right,
those are
Perfect.
done.
perfect. Public input? I guess there isn't any. All right. Before we head into the director's report, do we want to accept, talk about the 3 amendment items?
Yes.
Okay, so. November 11th is the second Tuesday of the month. It is also Veterans Day, so it is a holiday. So the center is not open. So I'm looking for board input on what they want to do. Do they want to just forego that 1 month meeting? Or do you want to try and reschedule it for another day?
Madam Chairman, just some input. I'm not available another day on Tuesdays or other days because of my work schedule. So I would suggest deferring that.
so,
We have,
okay, this just occurred to me, I'm comfortable just deferring until December, and the reason, November is gonna be
Busy.
yeah, but so the building will have been, if it moves forward, the building will have been voted up or down as of November 4th. And that will give us some period of time to digest the meaning of that and the ramifications for that decision. Because I anticipate that whichever way the vote goes, that will be topic A, B, and C for the next meeting. So I'm comfortable waiting until December to kind of get our heads around.
So is that a lengthy way of saying you second it?
Yes,
All right, so we'll take a vote. Cheryl, are you in favor of it?
Yes, I am in favor.
Marge,
Aye.
Dennis,
aye.
and Mary is aye. All right, so we will have no meeting on November.
Was that just accused of being long-winded?
No.
Nobody would do that.
So,
Because
I guess-
it sounded like.
just for point of order for me, do I have to notify the town? Do I have to put up anything? Since this is a standing meeting, if you will?
Just
It's
cancel.
a standing meeting, but it's not like statutorily
Okay.
standing required. So, I think if you don't post an agenda, then there is no meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure,
Mhm.
that I didn't have to do it.
I mean, you could post a meeting agenda and then cancel it if you wanted it to be super thorough. But I don't think that there's any need to do that.
Or send it in and say canceled.
Right.
Yeah, no, I said I'm good with it. I just wanted to know whether or not procedurally there was something that I needed to do that I wasn't aware of. Because I think it's probably gonna be more discussion on the letter.
Right.
And the vote. I think we'll go right now to the transportation and Shannon 9. I just wanted you to save your breath for that.
Yeah. We're gonna have to. Yeah, so the meeting, was held, there was quite a turnout, especially remotely. And a few takeaways. it seems to be the consensus in building out transportation infrastructure that it's more important to be reliable and consistent than it is to try to expand the service before you have the resources to service the service. So, it's important, I think as we try to look to ways to improve transportation availability in air, that it's the reliability and consistency of the service that is paramount. Whether it meets everyone's needs all the time is less critical to long-term success than if it reliably and consistently does what it says it's going to do.
Does part of that also go to usage? I mean, obviously is if you have something that isn't used
Yeah.
frequently or consistently or whatnot, I mean, that also lends itself to that reliability of it.
Yeah, and
Is there some way?
the consensus is that, for rural areas or for more rural areas or less densely populated areas, shall we say, that on-demand service is preferable to fixed route service. That fixed routes tend to end up being less available to the people, meet fewer people's needs,
Mhm.
are seen by the population at large as being inconvenient or not meeting what they're looking for.
And is Ayer considered that rural, less densely populated area? Or
Not
you
as
said-
much as the other, not as much as the
Yeah.
other participants in Chin and Nine. Who, you know, Winchendon and Gardner
Yep.
out that way. But what I would say is that these are just things I think that as we look to the future that we keep in mind.
Okay.
To the extent that you can have an on-demand service that meets the needs of the population, you're more likely to get kind of positive public feedback to it. If you establish a fixed route and few people are using it, and it's kind of inconvenient to get in touch with, or people can't access it when they need it, then it loses its public support and reason for being. So ultimately, if you have a reliable on-demand service, people will be willing to pay for it. If you have a fixed route service that only a few people use, the public support for the funding for that becomes more imperative. And again, I think where we're at now is, we're done well in expanding the services that we have available in terms of transportation. But if, to take the next step, these are things that we should keep in mind when we're kind of looking for what kinds of funds do we want and how are we gonna design that service? It looks like the Emerson shuttle, it was acknowledged that it was poorly, attended. Whether or not it will be able to, which is an example of a fixed route service. And
It's a fixed route, but it's not a fixed route in the traditional sense where a fixed route is going to many, many places and many people could access it from its many stops. Do you see what I'm saying? So because it only has one stop in Ayer versus like if it was truly, it is a fixed route, but if it was truly like a fixed route within town, you would have as many stops as you would have a quarter mile around those stops for people that were really easily accessible.
Yeah, and you'd have more pickup at the hospital. Cause people want to get out of their appointment
Yeah,
and not wait an hour.
right, yeah, so there's five pickups a day at the hospital, so, yeah. So they are roughly like an hour
Yeah.
apart, so if you miss one, you gotta wait,
some other things just to kind of, and again, these are just kind of thoughts to keep in mind as we look to the future. That the transportation, a lot of what other people in the region are doing not only involves seniors and the disabled, but workforce development and just kind of people who don't own cars. To the extent that the transportation system meets the needs of all of those, you obviously have a, you know, more public approval for it than, you know, this is the senior center, or this is the senior
Right.
transportation service. You want to try to create a service that is available and accessible to all. And part of that is going to be around the funding issue, because if you, what is it, mark funding, which would then require disability access, which would then require that quarter-mile radius. It makes it difficult to plan those things sometimes.
Mhm.
So you may want to look at other alternatives that don't have to comply with those strictures.
I guess they're dealing with the teens and,
Yeah, and people getting to work.
right,
There was a woman who I want to say was the Quabog connector,
mhm,
which there are, to the extent that you're able to kind of link other towns, or if you have a fixed route that it goes beyond a single town, it's more likely to be successful. Just because you're gonna get more people using it. The problem there is that the complexities around funding, where's the money coming from, who works for who? It requires a lot of legwork and a lot of detailed finances so that everybody is paying and taking advantage of the service.
Yep.
Just the one, this, maybe you may know Catherine, who I think was the Mart representative or the
Mhm.
Mart, but she evidently has left Mart.
Oh.
She was the
Okay.
woman who was at the meeting that we were, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so she is no longer with Mart. I don't know who will take her place, but she seemed to be the go-to person for
Right, yeah,
Mart issues, so.
okay.
Um. They are continuing to work on application software that will, you'll say are calling. I don't know. And the mobility master plan, the Department of Transportation says that its mobility master plan will be coming out soon. I did not dive down into what defines soon.
Mhm.
But because I like being easy to get along with. So, okay. Any questions or?
Does the Shannon 9 transportation, this particular group meet every month, every 2 months, every 3 months?
2 months?
Every 2 months. So like the next meeting would be October?
Yeah, well, they might schedule, yeah, it should be October. She
Okay.
said something about late September, but I think October.
All right, I'm just trying to make sure that if we have an update, we get it on the agenda. If there was that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
fixed, sort of like that fixed bus route, do you
Yeah,
have a fixed meeting schedule?
yeah.
You know, so to make sure that we get it on the agenda.
All right.
So
I will,
if it is gonna be late, let me know and I'll get it on me.
I
I
will,
think I saw an email that said their annual meeting is early
It's-
October, but I don't know if that's the organization as a whole or their mobility workforce, which is what we've been attending.
hmm,
Just let me know so we can get it on the agenda.
I-
You know, I was trying to figure out how to put it in there, but if I can get one so that it's standard on that would be fine. Thank you, Dennis. And do you enjoy going into meetings and do you find it worthwhile?
They are interesting to attend, and I think that given that we are the easternmost
It's their in.
town, you know, and the fact that we are, we have the train stop here. But I do find it interesting to listen to
Mhm.
the concerns and the issues that are coming up. We also, because of our attendance there, there's some information about grants and loans and just kind of doing the people, glad hand and face-to-face kind of stuff, which may put us in a position to just be aware of things, which would, be all to the good. I think that, Ayer would benefit from, and specifically the seniors in town, would benefit from some additional transportation services, especially around medical visits, appointments, and how we do that. Just some ideas about how we might be able to do that efficiently. Might come from these meetings. So it's a worthwhile endeavor for.
Or at least not have us lose any
Yes.
services.
Yes, and I think it's good to have the town be represented at meetings where money or future resources may become available and how we can get our hands on it.
Right.
So,
Sounds good.
Good. Thank you for going to those, Dennis. I think it's important, yeah.
yeah, and the other thing is, and not to be too mercenary about it, they do have free coffee and donuts. They do put out quite the spread there.
They do.
And bagels with cream cheese and stuff.
Do you get lunch?
No. If I'm still there on lunch, these meetings will be a lot less fun to go.
It's done by.
All right. All right. So. Do we want to talk about the quarterly letter, or do we want to do the director's report first? Either done is fine. I think let's do the director's report first.
Okay.
Let me go,
Yes.
Yeah, I can read it, yeah.
go.
All right, there we go. I can kind of go through this. Hopefully everyone received it and had a chance to look through it. So for August, there were 125 unduplicated, so 125 individual people who came in to for our programs, a total of 723 times. The average daily attendance, and I want to put like an asterisk by average daily attendance. Average daily attendance is the average number of people who attended on a Monday, the average number of people who attended on a Tuesday. It is not, like there's no good range for it. Does that make sense? Just the way that it's calculated. So these statistics, of course, don't count the 13 Meals on Wheels clients and the 70 van riders, because these are just programs. And then following our discussion from the last meeting, I broke down further what those 125 people did when they were here in the building for programs.
We were just, Dennis he was looking at this and he's like, oh, it's up
Oh,
there.
it's up there. Yeah, I know, I put it there to make it easier. So, so unduplicated statistics are unique people, unique users. Duplicated is how many times those users came. So for example, if someone comes in one time and has one lunch, that's one unduplicated and one duplicated, but one person who comes in and eats all 20 lunches would appear as one unduplicated and 20 duplicated.
So for instance, the classes / workshops, there were 7 unduplicated people, and only those 7 were the 7 that attended.
Right, so there was one program that fell under the category of classes and workshops for August, and so that had 7 attendees, and that was a one-time thing. Versus if you look at, there were 14 people who attended arts and crafts classes a total of 26 times.
Yeah.
So you could say that almost everybody came to 2 art classes.
Yep.
Some people will have come, and I don't actually remember how many we had, but I'm gonna guess I had 2 based on that same group of people. It doesn't necessarily mean each person did exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
But that's what it works out to.
And like the fitness and exercise, it's like they each came.
Multiple
times,
times,
yeah.
right, yep. Yep, they came on average 3 times. But that might mean some people came once and some people came 6 times.
Yep.
But when you look at it that way, you can see it's a select group of people doing something multiple times a month. So for nutrition, for example, 66 older adults ate a total of 297 meals. That's, I think, an important statistic because, for example, our dining room seats 24. It's not the same 24 people who are eating at our meals every day. It is a total of 66 different people who ate 294 meals. For van trips, 33 people went on 48, like they went on trips a total of 48 times. So people went, 1.5 times. Some people went once, some people went twice. 26 people did 87 recreation activities. Same thing, for social events, you've got people coming multiple times. The special event, I'd have to look back and I don't remember what it was, but that's clearly one that's like the classes and workshops. It was a one-time thing. And then special groups was a one-time thing as well. So that comes up to that number, this 125 and 723 adds up. It's the same number as up here at the top. So just to point out, these numbers here, 14, 7, 27, 9, do not add up to 125. But these are unique users in arts and crafts. The unique users are duplicated and unduplicated within their category, right? So if someone comes and has a lunch and an arts and crafts class following it, they will be a unique user in each of those categories. But when you look at total programming, they're one unique user because they came to 2 different kinds of programs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. So several special programs in August. Brain health, Zentangle. We went to Mount Wachusett Community College to see Greece. Did a senior center building update, an ice cream taste test, Instagram tutorial. We went to the outdoor concert in Shirley. The beach bus went to York Beach, and Supper Club went to Acton Seafood. And we unfortunately canceled trip to New England Botanical Gardens. A couple of things for outreach. We added, last month, we added a suggestion box. There were no suggestions in the box this month, but there was a whole host of things in the suggestion box last month. I added that to the report because I thought, that might be really interesting to see. I'm not gonna transcribe them in there, but just to see sort of what the general suggestions were about. And let's see, my favorite one was the desire to have steps that connect the senior center to the overflow parking at Bernie Park. That won't happen, but I feel the sentiment.
No, and
That's because
yeah,
Ayer Park has.
I parked down there a
Mhm.
couple of 3 times and
Mhm.
to walk all the way to the front, which has led me to either crawl under the fence or jump
Mhm.
over it.
Right.
Neither of which is desirable outcome
Yeah.
for a man at my age. So it would require the cooperation of the recreation department and the housing authority and,
Yeah,
Never Park has it.
what's that?
Never Park in Acton has stairs up.
I said,
So you've been to Never Park.
Mhm.
As the seniors go to a concert,
Mhm.
they have it.
Ah,
You can walk up and down the
Gotcha.
stairs.
yeah.
Do they also have a ramp? Cause I would imagine that would also kick in.
They have a
AV.
small hill that you can
Yeah.
do a wheelchair easily.
Yeah, cause I would imagine that if you did that, that would kick in ADA.
Yeah, but they have a very slight,
And I think the difference is that Narrow Park is that's all one piece of land managed by
Yeah.
the same Department of Recreation, all of Narrow Park. And then
But-
here you've got
Three different.
the state and the town, and you've got Article 97.
The pond is separate from the soccer and the concert area. Totally separate parking.
Agreed, separate parking, I'm saying it's the same agency managing them, is what I meant. It all falls under Parks and Rec. If you look on the
I
Acton
think the
Parks and Rec
pond-
website, it
I don't
shows
know
all,
what the pond
the
is.
beach, the
Yeah,
beach and the field and the concert area are all managed.
and my kids don't go there.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so the point being that some of the suggestions are things that
Yeah,
are, short-term actionable, like better cutlery. We
yeah.
had a bad order for cutlery and it was a little flimsy.
This-
We have since remedied that, but I appreciated the suggestion. You know, a range of things. I hope people continue to use it. It's always a good opportunity to see what people are thinking. In terms of more formal outreach services, we provided 29 older adults, a total of 55 social service interactions in August. As has typically been the case, financial counseling, housing concerns, and transportation difficulties. And that doesn't mean scheduling rides, that means difficulty navigating transportation issues. Continue to be the most frequently sought after assistance. And then, you know, there's the whole list of other ones that had something in them. And then obviously there's scores of additional like simple referrals that are just phone numbers given out that, you know, we don't log those. These are more involved interactions. So in terms of meals, as the chart said above, we offered a total of 294 meals to 66 older adults. Again, that illustrates the variety of people that are attending our 24-seat dining room. 144 meals were delivered in August to the 13 Meals on Wheels clients. And I anticipate that number to hold kind of right where it is. Our numbers were higher, but due to funding cuts with MOP, there's now a wait list and we don't control that wait list. That belongs with MOP and but I don't anticipate there to be much fluctuation on that. Let's see, just found it mildly interesting that 52% of our monthly participants came for a meal. Many of them came and did other things too, but you know, the meals program is very popular here.
Yeah, so I'm just, the 66 adults, 294, it's like 4 meals per if everybody was, that's a lot. I mean, some people are eating, I'm assuming.
So that's where I find data to be super interesting. So 66 people eating 4 meals, we couldn't actually, it would be hard to accomplish that in our 24-seat dining room, right? So it spreads out. Some people eat more meals, some people eat fewer meals. Everyone comes from a different situation. Some people are relying on our meals to be the main meal of the day. Some people are coming because they enjoy doing a program that's before or afterwards and they couple them together. It's more of a social thing. Some people come when they like the particular menu item because they know that they're getting it at full market value. So there's a lot of different reasons people come in. But I sometimes get the sense that when folks aren't involved in our senior center, that they think we're only serving 24 people here because there are 24 meals. There are 24 seats in the dining room. And I just love being able to illustrate that that's not the case. We're seeing over 100 people in the month and 600 for the year. So, all right. Let's see. Thank you again to all of our amazing volunteers. We worked a total of 161 hours, valued at $2,200, almost $2,300. And as a reminder, I know the kiosk went down right when you guys came in, but for meetings where you are a volunteer for the senior center or a volunteer for the town, check in as a volunteer. If you are attending a meeting as a senior, then, or as an older adult, then you check in as a participant, so, hopefully that distinction is clear.
Yeah, it's up on the left-hand corner.
Yep. All right, so then in terms of the building committee update, continuing to make progress, do you want me to do this now? Because it's not a separate agenda item, on,
Go ahead.
on this one, so.
You put it in, I figured we, it
Yeah.
always runs right into it, so I figure we'll just keep it under
That's
this.
Yep, so, the committee made another round of revisions to arrive at the current concept, which is 13,000 square feet and 15.1 million. The town is, committed to this project. It's been in the master plan for quite some time. We've made a couple attempts to get it forth to the voters, but they are proposing contributions from capital stabilization and UDAG funds. In addition to, some grants that are already received and submitted. The goal is to bond no more than $10 million for the project, which, at an updated cost would cost the average Ayer household $143 per year for 25 years. Based on the current tax rate and the median Ayer home value in Ayer being $550,000. Thank you. So the committee visited the select board last month and received conditional approval for the select board to place the project on the fall town meeting warrant. Contingent upon successful meetings with FinCom and capital planning, which is scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday. So you guys are all welcome to attend those meetings. Public outreach efforts are underway and we have scheduled 4 public information sessions. 2 in the day and 2 in the evening to reach the widest variety of interested voters. There'll be a townwide postcard to be mailed out, an older adult specific mailer, a social media campaign, a video about the current senior center conditions, and a new website, ayerseniorcenter.com. Check it out. The goal is to provide ample opportunity for the public to learn about this project and to make an informed vote, both at fall town meeting on October 27th and on election day.
So ayerseniorcenter.com, even going forward, will you continue to use that? Or could you continue to use that?
I'm unsure. It will be in place until the hopeful ribbon cutting for sure.
Mhm.
And then, but normal departmental functions are supposed to exist on the town's departmental website.
So they couldn't just be a link off it to,
That's a conversation that's in progress.
Okay.
Because
What was the question?
oh, like ayerseniorcenter.com, since that's already out there and taken for us, could that continue in the future? So that it has its own separate site that you can put things up easily versus going through. No, because is the library considered a town entity? Because they have their own website, they're
they're their own.
So,
Alright,
I mean, it may be that perhaps the Friends of the Air Senior Center could take over the domain name and then.
Yeah, they certainly could. I think it's too early to
Oh,
tell
yeah.
what would happen with it. But in general, the senior center's operations are supposed to happen on the town website. Because that way it is the clearest, most transparent, most easily reviewable, and editable format for everybody. So, there are exceptions to that. The library is not technically a town department, but it does receive town funds. So there's the gray area there. And then, Parks and Rec has kind of moved away from that a little bit because they're using the MyRec software a lot more, but it is still integrated. You still start at the town website and then link off of there. So I think it's to be determined.
I'm sure,
I don't
and I'm
feel-
sure everything's evolving as well
Yeah.
too.
And, I think it's one of those things too, where technology evolves
Yeah.
faster than procedures evolve. So like, the capability of the town's website is really limited compared to an openly sourced website. So that's why Air Senior Center was created, was so that we could simply and easily display just the information. And the town's website, the way it's formatted, and you can't, like, I can change everything on our website, but I can't get rid of the calendar on the right. I can't get rid of the things on the left, which means content really is only going in the center third. So it's just a lot less flexible.
Is that the one you're presenting tomorrow night, the senior center building update? That cost?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
that I can get behind.
yeah, that's the latest update. It was, that building committee did that about a month ago, right? That was the update I gave at the one that we did here. The cost per year, so the 15.1 has been the same for about month and a half, or so. And then I had to wait for the treasurer's office to rerun the most updated bond numbers. And so that's how that number became 143.
And then I think it's important to note that the bond that we're seeking, that is up to $10 million, is up to $10 million.
Yeah, it's likely not to be. but
Yeah,
It's no,
to the extent that you can borrow less
right,
due to
right.
changing circumstances of materials or labor or
And-
design changes, you may indeed. Because it's important to note that when it goes out to bid, the cost estimate that we have now is on the middle of the bid range.
Mhm.
So the number that we got from the cost estimator was, let's say it's $9 million for the building itself, not including the land. So, but that's the middle of the range, which by definition means that he would anticipate that there are going to be some bids or a bid lower than 9 million. There will be some that are higher than 9 million. The middle of the range is 9 million. But we would be, unless it may well be the case that we would be in a position to take the lower bid
Why?
because it's required by law.
Is it in the town?
It's
Unless
the,
there are some
I think it's actually state law, but
State
you're
law.
required to take the lowest qualified bid.
Okay,
And so if it's lower, but lower for reasons that are not responsible, right? Like if it's not
Okay.
complete, then you don't have to take that, but it's the lowest qualified
there's
bid.
gotta be a clause in
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Because,
And just to clarify, I think it will be helpful for people to hear if they want to attend FinCom tomorrow night or capital
Mhm.
planning the following night, because the charge of the building committee is to design the building and to get a cost for it. And then it is the job of the FinCom to determine if the town can afford it, capital planning to determine how to allocate money towards it, the select board as well, and then the people to vote and decide if they would like to spend that money as planned. So like, for example, the number 15.1 million
mhm,
is a result of what the building committee created, like what they planned. The 143 number didn't come from us, like did not come from the building committee, that comes from the town's treasurer.
right,
And the bond council. So it really becomes this collaborative effort now at the town level to figure out how to pay for it. So, and there will be a ton of detail on that at the FinCom and capital planning meetings the next 2 nights.
no, I just look at people around my neighborhood that, I know houses are going on the
Mhm.
market. And they're looking at their taxes going,
Sure. And that's one of the things that will be presented is a forecast of
mhm,
what this amount plus what else is expected, plus what else, to get a total picture
right,
of what that will do for taxes next year, not to just look at it in isolation. And again, that's something that the treasurer's office has been working very hard on to get, so that
Right.
everyone can be aware of.
And one of my
What's it
neighbors said, but that was only for the first year, and I was like, I think it's for every year.
So that is actually a descending bond, which means that 143 for the first year is the highest amount it will be, and then it will go down each year after that. I would have to see the schedule of values to see, but it might be 143 the first, and don't quote me on this.
No.
And then it might be 135 the following year, and then 100, it may go down by $5, it may go down by $10 or $15 a year. I don't actually know. I just know that it's a descending bond. It will decrease each year. And by paying the highest, because the idea behind the descending bond is that by paying the most into it upfront, you, oh, we lost Cheryl, by paying the most into it upfront, you are reducing the overall amount of interest that you're paying.
And it's important to note that the bond is for 20, well, these numbers are based on a 25-year bond.
Yeah, they found that.
The building,
The mortgage.
right,
Come
but the
on.
building is designed to last 50 to 75 years. That is, once the town has paid off the bond on the building, and again, it's not free use because you have operational costs and you have maintenance costs. But it's not like after 25 years, we tear the building down and do it again,
Right.
right? I mean, the $10 million bond that is used to pay for the building
Right,
will then, for the 25 to 50 years after the bond is paid off, still be helping to finance those services for the residents of the town.
yeah. But no, I mean, that's just what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So, and I've got neighbors with college kids, with people that I know, you know, retiring next year,
And that is
moving
the,
out of town.
that's the beauty of Massachusetts, you know, town meeting style government, is that everybody gets a voice and
But they
everybody
don't
gets a vote.
necessarily go to town meeting, but they come in and say,
Right, so I would encourage anybody
I
with
say
opinions for the project, against the project, whatever it is,
Yeah.
on all issues, to be involved in your local government, because that is the place where you have the most.
but they
impact.
vote, Katie. They vote, and so.
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
great,
Right,
right, that's wonderful. I truly believe in the democratic process, and I believe these are the steps we're at right now, where we're designing the thing that we think is, the building that we think is best suited to meet the needs of older adults. And then it goes through the vetting process with the town to make sure that it is affordable and viable and all of those things, and then it gets put to the voters. And they will decide, the voters will decide. So I hope that, again, whether people are for the building or against the building, that they get involved in the process and let their opinions be known, because that's the best way to do it. All right,
Okay.
anything else for the building update?
Oh, I think that's good.
Okay. In terms of transportation, the senior center, we had 70 riders this month and a total of 443 trips. I left the same caveat in there from last month. I think we're seeing a decrease in medical rides in the last few months or so. Some of it, I think, is in July and August, a number of physicians are on vacation. Clients, you know, older adults are on vacation. So it may be that. It may also be increased use of PT1 for folks who are eligible for Mass Health. You can get free rides to your medical appointments. It's called the PT1 program. And it could be that people were using the COA van instead of PT1 transportation. Maybe they were comfortable using the same service that they use to get their hair cut and to, you know, go shopping and stuff. But now that the transportation needs to take them to another hospital system and they have to work around our more restricted, I mean, we have a lovely open schedule that services 11 towns. But if they need to go to Leominster and Pittsburgh and they can only get there on Mondays, they may have decided to make better use of the PT1 transportation system, which I think is ultimately a good thing, right? people using the services for what they're intended for. Alternative transportation coordination, or it could be decreased medical access. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to answer that, but those are things that I'm speculating may be in play here. The interest in the evening errands, it's modest. I was sort of hoping we would have more interest in it, given how many people anecdotally asked for extended hours.
So by errands, is meant grocery shopping and.
Right.
Yeah.
So now with the second driver, we're offering transportation 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So, we don't have a lot of people taking evening rides. We've moved some of the afternoon shopping, a little bit later in the day. I wouldn't say that that's made it more popular, honestly.
Do you think some of it is that it's summer, it's still light out,
And that's.
and that'll change
yeah.
as it gets darker?
I think as it gets darker, earlier it will change, and also, I think it may be a different clientele. So expanding the programming may not matter to the group of individuals that are regular riders right now, that are in the habit and the practice of riding during the day. So, that's one of my goals for the fall, is to make sure that we are doing the right kind of outreach for people who think that they can't use the COA van service because it only operates at a time that doesn't work for them, that they know that do you see what I'm saying?
And
Because there may be a whole set of people that we're missing out
what
on.
constitutes evening? After 3, after 4? We need.
It's somewhere in between 3 and 4, and it depends upon the day. It's whatever makes it a logical time for Sam to stop driving and Donna to start driving. So
So sometime-
somewhere between 3 and 4,
Alright, so we want.
typically closer to 4.
Okay.
So rides between 4 and 8. So if we've got,
They don't wanna go to the grocery store between 4 and 7, let's say, though.
but like I said, I think I think it's been helpful in that we have been able to start doing some medical appointments in the afternoon. It used to be that it was pretty much the vast majority of medical appointments were happening in the morning and shopping was happening in the afternoon. We're able to provide some more flexibility now for people for afternoon medical appointments. And we're able to move around, so we don't really have to say, no, we can't take you. Now it's more like, I can't take you to the post office at 1 o'clock, but I can take you at 4 o'clock. Whereas before, if Market Basket was running from 1 to 3 or 3:30, we wouldn't have taken someone at 3:30 on another errand because Sam needed to be off the road no later than 4, and usually preferably a little bit before that, because there's some end of day paperwork that needs to be done before he's done at 4. So now we're able to say, oh, the day's booked up, but we could take you at 4 or 4:30 right before the post office closes at 5. So.
No, I'd be interested to see how about going out to eat, going to the movies.
So there's been great interest in that, and that social programming has been successful. And so, has always been my goal to increase capacity for those things. So, and in the summer, it's quite easy because there's a lot of summer concerts, summer things going on.
Do people know here or Pleasant Street, they can just book to go to Chinese or?
Yeah, so that's part of the outreach I think needs to happen. I mean, it's in the newsletter, we've talked about it. But doing some really targeted, like, did you realize you can do this with the van?
Word of mouth is.
Yeah, without supper club.
Right, yeah. I mean, and that's always been the case. Like, we have some people who like to go to a particular pizza place. And they will probably every other month book the van, and that was during the day, to
Right.
go to that favorite pizza place for lunch and come back again. It can be, it's not just for medical rides, it's for errands, it's for shopping, it's for social visits, whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, so there's, I think, work to do. I'd really like to go all the way through the winter and into the spring with the plan, with the services as they are right now, before I really evaluate whether or not this is working.
Well, it also gives you a whole year worth of data, which is really what you need to make that.
Is there any on Saturdays or Sundays?
No, not right now. It doesn't mean that there can't be,
No, I
and I can, like, so for example, one of the things, we may provide transportation for the Newton Street Festival. We may provide it for the Harvard Flea Market. We always have somebody working for the Rotary Club Chicken Barbecue, but that's more of a event specific
Yeah.
than open.
I'm just thinking, you know, perhaps medical appointments or therapy appointments or grocery store trips or, you know, whatever that may occur on a Saturday during the day.
And that's, you know, I think I'll wait to make the decision, but that would be one option, would be to say, rather than doing 5 evenings a week, maybe it's fewer evenings, but then there's weekends, but I'm not ready to make,
Yeah.
I wanna really see this part through.
But what about a sign on the van saying, did you know you could book
Yeah.
to go to Chinese?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah,
you know, I mean. Donna's gotta become, bored,
yeah.
book your friends and go out to dinner.
I think that's it. And, you know, that's the next phase, is really making sure that the outreach is, with publicity is where it needs to be.
That they know they can. Mhm.
And then you saw this laundry list of events
I
coming
did.
up,
Yeah.
volunteer and advocacy opportunities. I'd really like to draw attention to 2 of them.
Mm.
The first is on September 19th, the Pleasant Park Picnic. That's, I think, our 3rd annual.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I believe
3rd
so, yeah.
annual Pleasant Park Picnic. I did discover that, I think Shirley is having a cookout on the same day. So it may not be as big of an event as it,
You've got a lot signed up.
yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers today to see, but it's,
It's in the
Okay.
40s a bit.
okay,
Yeah.
great. So that unfortunately happens to be, the Office of Economic and Community Development planned a Meet the Town of Ayer event from 10 to 11 that day that I need to be at. So I'm gonna ask, for volunteers. Typically, we've started set up around 10. What I'd like to do is get a couple of volunteers to help closer to 9 to set up the tables, and then people can leave after that. At least the tables and chairs piece, and then I'll go to my event, and then the volunteers can, Mary Ellen and Denise can come closer to 11 o'clock and start setting up the other pieces of it. And then I'll be back about 11:15. The music will start at 11:30. Lunch will be at noon, and then, the band is gonna play for 2 hours, so the music will stop at 1:30. So
Who's the,
it is the Apathetics. They play a wide variety of music.
You can just sit in your porch, Dennis, and listen, right?
There you go.
Oh, yeah, we need more apathy, that's exactly what we wanna be selling.
So, they are gonna be playing some low key in the background kind of music from 11:30 to 12:30, and then from 12:30 to 1, when people are done eating, they're gonna liven it up a
Who's
bit.
supplying the food?
Il Forno, yeah, no, Philos. I just,
Yeah.
I blunked.
That's all right.
Huh? Philos, sorry, Philos, yeah, the Italian place over in Brooklyn. It's gonna be chicken parm and green beans. And I forget what the starch is, mashed potatoes probably, if I had to guess.
Pasta.
No, it's
Not
over
from-
pasta, you're right, it's over pasta, yeah.
Not from you, not from Kilo.
Yeah, that's what I was-
No.
Pasta, yes. So it should be a good time, and that's always I mean, we've lucked out, knock on wood, had great weather the last few years.
Yeah.
So I could use some volunteers if you wanna do physical labor to set up around 9. Assistants serving around noon, or cleaning up around 1:30. So you don't have to let me know right now, but if you can, let me know. And then the other one is October 11th. there is, the Friends of the Air Senior Center are doing a booth at the Harvard Flea Market. So, I'm looking for volunteers both to donate items that would be sold for the benefit of the Friends at the booth, as well as a day of, help. So, the setup will begin around 6:30 because early bird admission starts at 7:30. General admissions from 9 AM to 4 PM. So if anybody is an early bird and wants to help with the setup, transporting things over to the site, helping set it up. If anyone can help, the Friends will be in the booth all day, but if anybody is able to help assist them in the booth, that would be great. And then, with picking up any unsold items and bringing them back to the senior center or to one of the Friends' houses. I'm not sure what they're doing with that, at the end of the day. So I could use help on both of those days.
I'll be around on the 19th. I can come, but not probably until 10:15.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I just looked at our schedule.
Okay. No, I was there for the table set up last year and the tables were there, it's my recollection, right? And
Yes.
are they the plastic folding tables?
So
or are
they will
they-
be those tables
Mhm.
and these chairs. So maintenance will bring them over.
Yeah.
And last year, it didn't take too long between. You were there, I think Dennis and Jeff were there, and Denise and Mary Ellen and I, and then. The two housing guys. It didn't take too long to get the setup.
Ed was there.
Oh, and Ed was there, yeah, yep.
I can't volunteer him.
No, understood. So that part went
went
fairly quickly, and
Yeah.
then the setting the tables is a little bit longer a task, but I think if the most people can help get the structure set up, then
Yeah, I mean, I can probably get there for 9 and help with the setup. I gotta be out about 10. I can go back
okay.
closer to noon, but I do have something I've gotta do in the interim. If that works for you.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, so that is it for the director's report.
And I can help with the cleanup,
Okay, thank you.
but not tables and chairs.
Yeah. And, housing will bring them back over again. We just have to organize them up against the edge of the parking lot. Like wherever we found them, we'll put them back there, yeah. And it's not a crazy amount of tables and chairs, it's just. A lot back and forth, so.
Yeah, just as long as it's not the big, I think last year they also used a few of the heavy. Tables, the long ones, the heavier conference tables.
They had like 8 people at a table, the longer ones.
I think they were these tables here, they were the bingo tables.
I
And there
grabbed a
was,
few of those other
and
ones.
there was one that didn't fold in half, because that was my personal table.
Yeah,
But there weren't any, because they don't have any others.
all right. They had a few of the other ones, I thought, because they were pretty. Some of them were pretty awkward to drag over, right, to my recollection,
Okay,
but. I don't know,
all right.
Ed said quadruple, I'm not putting him
I'm
on.
trying to think, the big one that I have is from before Lifetime Tables learned to hold their tables. But these tables, it's portable.
no, I didn't, that
So
wasn't
they went-
these, it was those kind of god awful.
They were longer ones,
Yeah, like, it was like the 8-foot conference tables, the corrugated cardboard ones that are heavier than hell. They got the ridges on them.
I wonder where those came from, because we don't own those.
I don't know where they were, but I saw it, they came,
Okay.
I don't know if Housing had them. Because are those enough tables?
I think so. I think we had. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 for serving, including the square ones,
Yeah.
and then 6 of those tables. We'll work out the logistics of it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make sure, yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, so I'll be there for like 9. like 9:45 probably, and then
I'll come in and,
I'll come back about 11:30.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
you need canopies and tents and lettuce.
Yeah, I will watch the weather. There's,
Yeah.
the senior center owns one
We
and
have,
I own one.
we have a big one, we have a small one. We
It'll
have
just
a couple.
depend on the
Right.
weather. That's part of why I do it this time of year is, in September, is that usually the sun isn't.
Baseball, we have a couple that
Okay.
would fit 2 tables and 1 table and.
Okay.
Yeah, we're equipped.
Okay.
Alright. So those are the two
Okay.
things.
Mhm.
Newton Street Festival, you're all set with?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Newton Street Festival, that was the other one. Is that on my list?
Nope.
It's not.
Yeah, so Newton Street Festival, I do actually need helpers for that one because I'm out of town that weekend. So I am gonna need a complete team to, Mary Ellen's like, yeah, I'm not doing that by myself. A complete team to set up. That should be, I'm hoping largely manned by the building committee. With support from the council on aging and the senior center staff, but I'd like the building committee to really take the lead on that one. But if you guys are available to stop by and help, that's 10 to 3, and I believe the setup for non-food vending booths is at 9 AM. I think if you're selling food, then if you're selling food, then you can get in earlier, but yeah. So, all right.
Okay. Okay. So then the last thing, not the last thing on the agenda, because one of these weeks, one of these months, we do have to get back to the assessment. But I do want to talk about a letter in support to the, who is it? To the, or the select board, but also too is I think, whether it's to the select board or whether it's to the 3 of the committees, the finance and capital planning committee, is it 2 or 3? So is it select board, so finance and capital planner in the same committee?
No,
they're
Okay,
they're separate.
that's what I
So
thought.
there would be 3
I
letters.
thought they were, so it was just the way I was reading it. So those 3 letters, I said whether it's written to all 3 committees, the same verbiage or whatnot. Basically saying that we have taken a vote and that we are in support of the project. I would like to include some of the. I was looking at it and I happened to pop into. UMass has a healthy aging collaborative site that has an infographic. That I found that was really kind of interesting, that had a lot of information on it. Katie's gonna pop it up here. You know, on what it is, sort of why would you need where these types of things? And that type of thing. I don't know, but I guess is first of all, before we go further, is to take a vote to see whether or not everybody is in support of sending this letter.
Well,
And from the Council on Aging to those 3 committees, basically saying we are in support of the senior center.
Dark the tune there is.
Yeah.
What does the darkness mean?
Community rates of 60
60
plus individuals.
Oh, that can't be right. There's no one older than 60 living out in along the New York
Would you
border.
Well, I think
I'm sure
the,
there is down there.
I think the idea
No one in
is,
that town?
Would you live up there?
I would not. but
Well, I think some of those, I think the white areas are towns that didn't provide information back.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's a different thing, all right.
that is my
Think of the snow there.
No, she clarified that, yeah.
Think of the-
What's that?
think of the snow. Do you want to get out there and snow blow?
I mean, it's sort of, 1.6
I
people in
know.
Massachusetts are over 60. That's 24% of our
Yeah.
population. And
Yeah.
anything you read and whatnot is our population is aging.
Yeah.
So that number is only gonna grow.
So I think that,
And that actually is pretty indicative of the town of Air too, isn't
But
it? Isn't
what
it about
do
25% of the town of
So-
Air is?
Yeah, so
Senior?
25% of of the population, when you look at adults. Like
over
what
60?
percent of adults are over 60? It's
Yeah.
like 40%, but of the total population, yeah.
so I think one letter is to all three committees.
But I don't think the committees have made their decisions.
What's that?
You talk to the members of the committees.
No, they have, you're right, they haven't, which is the
No, I
reason
know.
why we're looking to,
They're like undecided.
So,
but I guess is,
I
this is sort of why I'm thinking that, a letter in support from the Council on Aging
Mhm.
to those three committees, and it does sort of have to be done today, because those meetings are tomorrow and the next day.
So would the goal be to read this letter of support during public input for the meeting and then submit it to them?
I don't know what the answer to that
Cause
is.
I think it would be most impactful if this letter had come in before they deliberated the issue.
I don't disagree, like I says, I think it crept up on all of us
Yeah,
before we thought about it, and
yeah.
part of the reason for the open and the discussion, is it worth it? Or is it worth it that we as individually as residents in the town of Air just send letters? And I don't know those answers, that's what I'm sort of having the discussion about.
well, I think it would be appropriate for the Council on Aging as being the advisory committee for the senior center to officially weigh in on a matter of such public policy import. It would be odd if the Council on Aging did not, take a particular
Yeah.
stand on this one way or the other. So I think it is incumbent on us as members of the Citizens Advisory Committee to the Senior Center and to the staff at the Senior Center, that we weigh in officially on what our views of it is. I think one letter to the three, that is, the contents of the letter should be relatively short and direct and maybe have this kind of information as an addendum to, or
Could it
that
be
is,
an attachment?
I think this kind of information is valuable, it's important for those committees to have, but I don't think we can put it inside the body of the letter because.
Oh,
then
no,
it just
it's not town specific either, so,
Yeah, and it becomes
Yeah.
becomes overwhelming to them. Having sat on the building committee, I've been through it a couple of times now. For a lot of those folks, and I know the finance committee will want to dive down into the nuts and bolts of the financing piece. That is, they will want to just see how the money is going, where it's gonna go, how they can afford it, and that will be the gist of what the finance committee will be looking at. As opposed to the clinical justification for why this is good social policy.
so, I mean, are we
And they
looking at
also-
it more from the fact that, from a committee basis, are we looking at it more from that clinical support? That justification of it, as opposed to, that.
Yes, I think that what we want to say, and again, speaking for myself, what I think it is important that the committee say, Council on Aging, that we, as the advisory committee to the senior center, who have been following these matters of the needs of seniors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In our view, in my view, the town critically needs a new building which can meet the current and future needs of the senior citizen population in Ayer. That the money that the size of the building is consistent with, that is, this is not an exorbitant expenditure, which goes outside the bounds of what is commonly held to be, within the range of the services that are being delivered in town after town in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. For Ayer to do otherwise, in my view, deprives the residents, the senior residents of the town of Ayer, deprives them of critically important services that will improve their quality of life, that will increase their ability to stay in their own homes, that will make them healthier, that will decrease the amount of isolation that they have to endure. I think that all of those things are true. And we as a board should let the other committees in town, know that.
Okay, now I'm gonna play
Well
the
put,
devil's.
well put, Dennis. I just want to
Yeah.
say.
Because,
No,
Okay.
wait a minute, hang on, Cheryl, I lost you there for a second, I just wanna make sure I've got it's like, I couldn't hear you. I'm not putting her first, I'm just trying to make sure we
Mhm.
can hear.
I'm sorry, my internet
Oh,
went out. a bit.
that's way better now, okay, thank you, sorry.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
just,
Marge.
I apologize for my absence for a few minutes. My internet went out and it's back on. So I just wanted to say while my internet is still on, Dennis, well put. I would add present value. It's the construction costs today are going to be less than 5, 10, 20 years out. And I think if we, as a board, present that fact along with our endorsement of the social and the reason that the town needs a new senior center, I think that will also help. The concept of present value is difficult for a lot of people to understand, but it essentially means your money today is worth more than it's going to be worth in the future. And it's going to cost more with less money, with less value going forward to build a center. And I absolutely agree with Dennis's point, and I'm rather than repeat it, I just agree with it. And I would support endorsing this project. And I think it's our duty as the board of directors to support quality of life enhancements and aging in place enhancements for the seniors of Ayer and the surrounding towns. So I apologize for the interruption, but I was afraid that my internet was going to fade away again.
Okay,
Thanks, Cheryl.
no, I'm just gonna be the devil's advocate for a minute, and Katie, you know what I'm gonna say. I saw the figure today, made me a lot happier, but,
So which figure?
the
15.1.
15.1.
Actually, I think it was
Yeah.
the 143.
Yeah, no, the 15.1. And I have talked to Kurt, I've talked to a lot of the board members, and I know we have a fire engine coming up. I know we have other things that the FinCom's worrying about. And they're taken into effect too. And I know what the seniors are talking about here every day. And even though you say, yeah, they can get to the senior, the new one on the bus
Mhm.
and come back after lunch, they're like, that takes half our day. Or they can come for lunch and come back at the end of the day. They're like, there goes half our day. It's. I see people looking at the plan, it's beautiful. And I give you that, it's gorgeous. And people are saying, but if I need a fire truck at my house, or I need a senior center,
Mhm. I don't,
what if I
just as a,
choose in between?
What's that?
just a point of clarification, and I'm gonna make sure, I wanna make sure I'm listening. But I don't think anyone's asking voters to choose between them. Each capital expense gets voted on individually.
Right,
And so each person should be voting on what the value of that item is to themselves, their neighbors, and their community.
right, they're both.
But it
going
isn't
up.
like you can only have one or the other. I just wanna be
No,
careful
right,
about the
they're both
positioning of
going
that.
up This
They're-
year,
What are going up?
a fire engine is coming on the warrant,
No,
Not at this town meeting, but I'm,
on the ballot.
It's
I
always
understand.
gonna be need for upgraded
But that's-
safety equipment, though. That's just a given in a town. You're always gonna have that come up.
mhm.
So I think that the conversation that is, we as the Council on Aging Board of Directors have a specific charge. How other town departments' needs or other capital planning requests, for me, do not enter into those deliberations. I, as a taxpayer, may have some concerns one way or the other. In this case, I do not, frankly, but I could see where a taxpayer may ask those questions. We, as a board, are charged with attempting to advocate for and pursue resources in an effort to improve the quality of life for the seniors in the town of Ayer.
But I'm hearing the seniors that are here,
I understand that.
and that's what they,
And
guess
they
this is-
think,
All right. Go ahead.
and everyone will get a vote on the floor at town meeting and at the ballot. The question for us, the four of us here, in the absence of Robert, is do we as a board support the current proposal for the new senior center as it's been laid out, by Katie and through the work on the building committee, or not? That's the question we are charged to answer. There is a current proposal that is going to be brought forward to the finance committee, the capital planning committee, and the select board. And I think we as a committee should notify those committees that we as the board of directors support that current proposal.
so in order to do that, I have to turn my back on the seniors that are here.
No, what we're doing is, my proposing is that we take a vote and send a letter. It would be nice and lovely to have everybody as a unanimous vote. But if there is a majority rules, the members who are in agreement with it will sign the letter or will be entered in on that letter.
And typically in the minute, like not
Yeah.
typically, always in the minutes, it should reflect the
Yeah.
votes.
Yeah,
So there
absolutely.
is a public record, like
Right.
if it's not a unanimous vote,
It is,
people are able to acknowledge their
That's-
dissent.
Right.
yeah.
So given given the charge is the charge of the COA board is to advocate for the needs of older adults. Would your position, which I presume is leading up to dissent, that's the assumption I'm making, it might be wrong, but that's what I'm assuming. So is your stance that this building and its level of services meets the needs of older adults?
People don't like the design.
So you feel like this build, but that's what I'm trying to really clarify, because so you feel like this building, this space, and the services we can provide here are doing a great job meeting the needs of the 2,200 older adults in town.
They feel like they're not listening.
No, I'm asking you,
Right, no,
I'm asking you though.
yes,
You do, you
I
feel
don't-
like this building
don't
is
feel it.
sufficient.
it meets what the seniors wanted.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. So you feel like for the people who are using it today, it meets their needs. And so you don't you don't feel the need for a new building.
I feel the need, Katie, but I feel it should have been talked with what they wanted.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to, I wanted to
Right.
clarify where you were with it, so thank you, I appreciate that.
So I am making a proposal that the Board of Council on Aging sends a letter in support of the new building to the select board, the finance board, and the capital planning committee. Does anybody second it?
I second it.
All right. So there is a motion on the floor and there is a vote. So we'll go around and take a roll call for the vote. Cheryl,
Aye.
Marge, Dennis, Mary's and I.
Yep.
All right, so what is the majority of that too is what I would like to do then is take the next few minutes
Yep.
and sort of hone in on some of the language that we will use in the letter. And then, figure out also how we will present the topic to those three boards. And that type of stuff. All right,
So I think that we can say, actually, we haven't in a whole lot of time, but
No,
something to the effect of, the COA board would like to express our strong support for the current proposal for the new senior center as outlined, as described in the work of the building committee. And both those committees have seen in detail the finances, the building architecture and all the rest of it, so they're very much aware of the current proposal.
I guess I'd rather stick more towards that. I'm getting into the weeds with it, but that the majority of us are in support of the proposal that is before you, that's gonna go to town meeting and those types of things, that we're in support of that.
Right.
That we feel that that is a necessary component in the town of it, or something along those lines, without sort of delving into like the building committee or.
You could talk about, so you're making a statement of support.
Yeah.
For as proposed, like
Yeah,
as presented by the building committee.
Right.
And then you say the importance of a senior center, and I'm just trying to get the main pieces. A
Yep.
statement of support, the importance of a viable, vibrant senior center is A, B, C, and D. And therefore, the ask at the end is, we encourage you to vote yes to support this going to the fall town meeting. I think it really can
you
be,
want as simple as possible.
right, as short and sweet.
And we-
that's my
And
whole
we
thing.
can say by a vote of 3-1.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
committee voted.
I will be there tomorrow night, so.
Yeah, great, yeah. And I think, I think it being transparent, I think it's
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
so,
And Kurt knows how, he and I have talked to her quite a bit.
Another point that I think it needs to be made, and I'm not sure if this letter is the appropriate way to document it, but we also need to think that we want to keep quality workers like Katie at the helm, and by having a modern, efficient senior center, we're going to attract capable and resourceful professional people to serve the population of Ayer going forward.
But I think that's getting very long, Cheryl. I think you just want,
Long, but it needs to be somewhere stated that we value people like Katie and the work that she does. And by endorsing the center, we're also endorsing maintaining that level of professionalism and advocacy for the seniors in the town. And that just, I just need to say that.
So I think that's a good point, Cheryl. So if you're talking about the statement of support and then the importance of the senior center, maybe it could be a bulleted list of things that are important about a senior center, starting from the benefits to seniors. Sorry, I'm forgetting my language, the benefits to older adults. And then broadening out towards the end in terms of there's a couple of community benefits that we've acknowledged, and then including, you know, the
value.
maintenance or recruitment or the value of being able to have high quality professionals that serve the needs. I think that's one I would not have myself put in.
Well,
just from a
But that's
humility
why
perspective,
we're here to say it.
you guys can read that, right?
Right.
Because I do think that's part of the broader oversight of the COA. Because I do think it is difficult. It will be difficult to keep qualified professionals in this environment going
Yes,
over the long
I think it
term.
is abundantly clear, and I was just talking to some folks at the Show Valley Fitness who live in Littleton and having a down in the town and coming here, and I just asked, you know, how does, you know, you getting any feedback on the new Littleton Senior Center? And it was quite positive, you know, they're loving the new building, but I think that, and I don't think that this would go in the letter, but I think that the town ought to be aware that in the absence of a new senior center, that is without it, the town of Ayer, and especially the senior citizens who live here, their quality of life, their standard of living, the availability of service to them will decline over time and will be seen as grossly deficient compared to the neighboring towns. I strongly suspect that people in Ayer would not want to be considered grossly deficient in the kinds of services that they provide for the seniors. So, you know, I mean, and that point was driven home when I guess the visiting nurse or whoever it is wrote that letter.
Oh, the Shine counselor, yeah.
Saying that she had been in, I don't know, 20 senior centers or 15 senior centers.
Yeah,
And she pointedly said that this was the most.
by far the worst one, yeah.
Yeah, by far the worst one, yeah. So, and obviously that is something that we would want to rectify by having a new building, so.
Yeah, I mean. It is difficult to provide financial services or even that shine counselor type of appointment in this facility.
Yeah.
You know, sharing this room is used for that. This room is also used by the Air Housing Authority. We use it for taxes. There is no privacy, and that to me is a real disruption and shame that the seniors don't have that privacy to have those financial issues.
Financial issues, health issues.
Health
family
issues, I mean,
emotional
where do
issues, all
you
those
do your
things.
well checks? I mean,
Yeah, they're out in the open.
yeah,
Everybody hears what everybody's blood pressure is.
so,
I've never heard one. I really haven't.
That's probably more of a reflection of your interest in eavesdropping on other people if you're not interested in it, but there are lots of people who
Yeah,
are, and they
I've
do.
never heard.
Do they compare numbers?
they probably do.
Sometimes they
I
do.
never hear one.
Thank God it's not your weight or your age,
Mhm.
No scales allowed.
but it could be.
So is the goal to have a letter for the meeting tomorrow? If so, I'm happy to sit with whoever's writing it, or I'm happy to
Yeah, that's
write
fine.
it since I have a device here. Or
Yeah, that's
whatever
I'm
to,
okay. Yeah. All right,
I mean, the board has
has already
already
voted on that.
Right.
Okay, and we've
so-
got input from Dennis and Cheryl. I know, Cheryl, I know you have your hard line commitment Is there anything you want to specifically see in the letter that you haven't said yet?
I think that by having a modern senior center with great professional staff, it will enable the seniors in Ayer to age in place, and that's a huge goal. I think that
Okay.
can't be understated.
Right. All right. Yeah, so I guess we just have to nail down the rest of the wording on that. We're gonna get it.
And I'm happy to help with that, after the meeting.
Okay,
I think one page, half a page, nothing.
Definitely
I
not
don't,
more
not
than a
anything
page.
really lengthy,
No.
not everything is really lengthy. Or that type of stuff.
All right.
All right,
Any other?
there's
So
anything, yeah, anybody have anything else?
where are
Do
we
you want
with
to table the
Yeah, we're gonna
assessment?
table the assessment, yeah,
But
3 minutes.
where are we in that, on that? What remains to be done?
On what?
On the assessment?
We have like 3 or 4 left.
We do.
Yeah, we've done, I think we've got 3, 4,
Yeah, we've got,
5, 3. Or 5 and 6.
did we do three? Three.
No, 3 is the next one. That's
Three,
governance.
4, 5. 6, why does 6 have nothing in it in my binder? 7 is done.
7's done. Is 8 done?
8 is not done.
9
Right.
done?
Yeah, no,
And 9 is done.
yeah, so.
So
it's
there's
like-
a handful, they're about half there.
Yeah, so we just have to do, I think once we can really start looking at them and focusing on that and sort of trying to sort of wield in some of the other pieces, we can sort of just move along.
And what is so after we have completed that process, what is the next step? Like, what would we do with that completed information?
Well, I think it's it's gotta be put together and looked at as a whole, and it's really nothing, it's more for, what do we see coming from it? Obviously, some of the deficits where it doesn't look for us to be that national standard. Maybe because of the building, because of what we can't do physically within the confines of it. As far as, and that will, depending on what happens with the vote and the building committee, is knowing that we'll never be compliant until we can meet some of those other
But
But I think
standards.
it would set, you guys have set strategic goals, you set them last year.
Yeah.
Right? But they were mostly related to how you guys as a board will operate. What I would see coming from this would be you guys looking at what are the action items from each of these modules, and you might set forth goals for me as a director or for the center as part of your strategic goals.
So,
Or for us as a
and-
board,
and when so at the end of the day, does the entity which created that assessment tool
Mhm.
look at our scoring or send in a third party to look at how things are, and then we get a certificate on the wall?
That would-
Oh, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so we're nowhere near getting that now, right? The idea was I know, right? The idea was to get a baseline going. And then at some point in the future, if we were actually trying to get certified,
Right.
yes, that is indeed what happens. We send it in, it gets evaluated, we
Right.
meet the criteria, we don't, we get a big thing,
Right.
like the plaque that hangs in town hall, for the police
Yeah.
department
Yeah.
certification, same thing.
but that takes a long process. Because if we were, like I said, at school when we got accredited.
Mhm.
It was a year-long process.
So we are.
Right, it's gonna take us about a year to get
No,
through this
but I
still.
mean, it was a year
Yeah.
long and it was
Sure.
observations.
I'm not exactly sure whether all of that is included in this. I don't think schools and senior centers
No,
operate in the
but-
same way,
It was.
but, we could look into that. I know they're rebuilding this year, this tool.
Mhm.
So, I don't think, obviously not this year, probably not next year, are we going to be in a place where we're gonna even begin to think we could be accredited.
So
it's-
so we are using this tool as an in-house self-assessment.
As
Yeah,
a
that's
tester.
at some point, the entity, we may want to reach out to the entity that created that
Mhm.
to look for their imprimatur on the work that we have done, and then we get the diploma and the plaque and the gold.
Right, so this is an official process you go through with them when you are doing it for real. But our goal was to do this for our own self-assessment, as well as to document where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are for what we can and cannot achieve in this space.
Got it.
So it's operational, it's space, it's a baseline, it's setting, it's informing strategic goals, it's all of those things.
So,
But I wasn't thinking about contacting the NCOA about our.
No,
scores.
not that, and knowing they're redoing it. I'm happy to hear that, because some of the way those questions are worded.
Yeah.
You know, in some of the questions, it's not necessarily a black and white yes or no.
Mhm.
And to be able to add that caveat in there as to why it doesn't do it. And I said, also too, and I said that I think some of them, those are built for senior centers that are not part of municipalities.
Right, and
And-
every state's a little
Yeah.
different, yeah.
But I will say, once you are accredited, it falls in place every.
Sure, yeah, there's,
Yeah.
different standards for before,
Mhm.
during, after. And, you know, some people choose to maintain it, the
Mhm.
accreditation each year. Some people say, I've been accredited once,
Yeah.
therefore, you know, I feel like I have achieved this accolade, you know, it's not, I'm not required to be accredited as a center of excellence in order to operate a senior center, whereas in education or in police, you're required to be accredited to
Sure.
operate. Like, that's not this situation,
Right,
so it's quite different in that respect. It is more of like a standard of excellence, like, am I in the top percentage? Am
Yeah.
I practicing nearly all of the best practices?
Yeah.
Versus am I meeting a minimum standard? You know, for operation.
So I'll take a motion for the meeting to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second.
Adjourn.
oh,
Cheryl, are you in favor of adjourning the meeting? Marge,
Yes.
Dennis,
yes.
and Mary is yes. Thank you very much. We will see everybody in October.